45 ACP versus 10 millimeter auto, and today we have our Sig Sauer Elite Defense ammunition. So our 45 ACP and our 10 millimeter are both using the V-Crown style bullet. Our 45 ACP is a 185 grain jacketed hollow point rated at 995 feet per second. Our 10 millimeter auto is a 180 grain jacketed hollow point V-Crown rated at 1250 feet per second. So I've had a lot of requests to start testing 45 ACP in our 185 grain weights, and that's another one I'm doing here today. And I figure a 10 millimeter with just 5 grains less is kind of an interesting comparison. So I'm going to use my 5.3 inch Glock 41 to test the 45 ACP. To test the 10 millimeter auto, I'm going to use my 4-inch barrel Smith & Wesson 610 revolver. By the way, both of these velocity ratings are through a 5-inch barrel, and with our 4-inch revolver, that's actually equivalent to a 5-inch semi-auto in the amount of barrel travel we get. I prefer to use the 10 millimeter revolver because I get more reliability than trying to do that out of a semi-automatic pistol. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. So we're going to go into 10% clear ballistics, just a plain clear ballistic shot, to see what the best potential of those cartridges are, see what our best potential for expansion and penetration and all of that is. And then after that, I'm going to do more of a real world simulation, 4 layers of sweatshirt material on this first 3-inch piece that represents our pectoral muscle. After that, we'll have a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. That'll be more of our real world simulation shot. So we'll do a plain clear ballistic shot with both, and then a real world simulation shot with both. And then I am going to shoot at the steel target to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 45 ACP 185 grain V-Crown. We are rated at 995 feet per second. Let's see how close I get to that in my Glock 41 here. 925, 964, 953, 944, 990. So except for that last shot, we were all well under the rated velocity. Now our 10 millimeter, we are rated at 1250 feet per second, but that's through a 5-inch semi-auto. We might see some cylinder gap gas loss. Let's see how close we get to 1250 feet per second in my 610 revolver here. $11.72, $11.71, $11.77. 76, 1171. So we are below rated velocity, but that is very consistent velocity. Yeah, we're talking 70, 80 feet per second below our rated velocity. That could be due to cylinder gap, but it also could just be the ammo itself, because I have tested other 10 millimeters that did get rated velocity in this. So I don't know for sure, but let's hit our ballistics gel block and see how these compare. All right, first shot to the plain clear ballistics, no denim in the way or fabric in the way to clog a hollow point, so we can just get our best potential for expansion. So let's see what we get here with our 45 ACP. All right, let's hit that with our 10 millimeter auto here. Let's go take a look. All right, I'm pretty surprised that there's not that much difference going on there. Both of them had a really good energy dump in that first 3 inches. Both of them had really good energy tearing and cutting going along. 45 on the bottom, 10 millimeter on top. A little more damage with that 10 millimeter right away than the 45, but you know, both of them look about the same going through our plain gel shot here. So both of them got really good expansion. Both look really good. Our 45 ACP, we have a total penetration of 16 1/4 inches of penetration, with fantastic expansion. Our 10 millimeter, it looks like right around here we did bust off a couple pieces of that copper jacket, but our total penetration went to about 17 inches, 17 1/4 inches, I would say. So about an inch more penetration, and then a little rollback with that 10 millimeter. So really similar performance. I'm really surprised at that. So let's put on our fabric, put in our medium density fiberboard, see how they continue to compare that way. All right, our real world simulation, 4 layers of sweatshirt material, 3 inches of clear ballistics, a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. Let's see what we get here with our 45 ACP. All right, let me line that all back up and then we'll hit it with the 10 millimeter. All right, 10 millimeter auto, a real world simulation. Let's see what this does. Let's go take a look. All right, both of them had really good energy dump going in this first 3 inches. It appears that both of them were not affected that much by that fabric, and they still had good expansion and energy dump. We had expansion going through our medium density fiberboard with both of these. It's hard to show this. There was a big hole with our 45, and then a big one with the 10 millimeter, but the 10 millimeter blew this entire thing apart. So both of them hit with a lot of force and did pretty well. Our damage in there is a little bit greater with our 10 millimeter, but not by a whole lot. But, you know, the little bit less penetration would indicate that the 10 millimeter definitely was doing a little more damage, because if it didn't penetrate as far, it's putting a little bit more energy into that target where it matters up here. But our 45 ACP, we have a little bit of over penetration, but not enough for me to consider that bad. 19 3/4 inches of penetration with our 45, and we have some pretty good expansion. Now our 10 millimeter went right exactly to 19 inches of penetration, rolled back a little bit. Good expansion on that as well. So looking at this, I would say both these are pretty acceptable for what they are. And it's actually a pretty good 45, because a lot of times 45s of that weight will kind of under penetrate, but we got some pretty decent penetration along with that expansion. So, you know, this is actually pretty good, because these are kind of cheap ammos for what they are. They don't cost a whole lot, but they are performing, so pretty good. So let's pull these out of the block. We'll take a close-up look at them, then we'll shoot our steel, see what kind of practical accuracy I can get on steel. All right, so here's a close-up look at these bullets going through a plain gel. Here's our 45 ACP. Really fantastic expansion overall. Very big bullet there. Did pretty well. Now our 10 millimeter did just as well. I'd say the size of this is probably about the same. Really big expansion overall. Really good performance for what it is. And we go through our medium density fiberboard, things change up just a little bit here. With our 45 ACP, we changed its size quite a bit, and it changed a lot with it. Just that impact to that rib simulation really changed it quite a bit compared to the plain gel. As where a 10 millimeter, it didn't really change much at all. So that would indicate that this bullet's probably a little bit tougher when it comes to what it's made out of. It's probably got thicker petals or something versus the 45. But they do feel about the same. So I don't know why, but this didn't change quite as much going through our fabric and our rib simulation. So based on that, I would say that in this test, our 10 millimeter did better, but you know, it's got a lot more energy to work with to do better. And for its energy, our 45 actually didn't do too bad. So interesting. They both did pretty well, but our 10 millimeter just a little bit better, I would say. So that's a close-up look at those bullets. All right, I decided to back up to 40 yards because, you know, shooting really close as fast as I can hit the target. Not really fair in these platforms because the revolver's a lot heavier. So I just want to see what kind of accuracy I get overall. How well these things will do from 40 yards here. So let's see if I can get our 45 ACP. right, not too bad. Pretty much point of aim. They're shifting a little bit to the left for me. That could just be me, but pretty much point of aim for elevation. 10 millimeter. Let's see how I can get this. Not too bad, but not quite as tight a grouping. You know, generally with this, I have to start switching to single action once I get towards the end of about a 20 round box of ammo, just because it hangs up a little bit on that moon clip in there, because it's such a tight cylinder gap in this thing. It'll still fire. So I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't use it for bear defense or something. It'll still fire, but when I'm trying to take precision shots, a lot of times it starts to bind up just a little bit. So let me back it up just a little bit more and continue to shoot at the steel, see how these things will continue to shoot for me. All right, 75 yards from the target. This is mostly just for fun. I like a nice challenge, and you know, these are pretty long barreled handguns, so why not? So 75 yards, 45 ACP. Wow, what was going on there? That's odd. Magazine dropped out. This is a new magazine too, and this is all stock parts. But from what I understand, it's a Glock 41 problem. Look it up. You'll see it's not a problem with the 21, but it is with this 41. I need to trade this thing in. So I wasn't particularly accurate with that. It seemed accurate up close. I don't think that's just me. I don't know. I just couldn't hit the target with that. Now with our 10 millimeter here, I am going to go single action because I'm wearing gloves and it's getting cold out. And I'm not very accurate with gloves with this because it was binding up in the trigger a little bit because these are a little too thick. And the trigger's, you know, binding up a little bit from it being dirty. So we'll go single action with this 10 millimeter, see what this thing does. So I don't know what the issue is with that either. I'm usually pretty accurate with revolvers from this distance. Just aiming at center mass the best I could. So these just didn't seem very accurate at distance for me, the way a lot of ammos are. But it was interesting because they seemed pretty accurate at 40 yards. But even up close, it did seem like the velocities were kind of sporadic with the 45 anyway. But this could just be me. This could just be me having poor accuracy today. So interesting doing this test here, and it's good to do a test like this to see all the weird things that can happen. And you know, that's one of those things that always bothers me. You know, I do a lot of shooting, a lot of testing a lot of different guns and ammo, and a lot of weird things happen. And people that go out and they'll shoot 50 boxes, a 50 round box of ammo, a full metal jacket 9mm a year, and then they don't have any problems. We'll look at weird things that come up with my testing, and they'll be like, well, this is that and weird, you're making it happen. And really what it is just from lack of experience. They're not really seeing that sometimes strange things happen, and that's why it's good to test the ammo you're going to be carrying and the gun you're going to be carrying. That's why I don't carry this Glock 41, because it has its own unique problems being a thin slide pistol, but I like to keep using it for testing because it gives me that full 5-inch barrel travel. But then people will see these issues that are kind of weird to it and be like, well, and let's go on and on as if it's a carry gun, and it's just like calm down. I like using it because it's cheap, because I don't have to buy another one, and it works for my purposes. But anyways, looking at the ammo overall, when we look at its terminal ballistics, though, I would say it's pretty good overall for its terminal ballistics. You know, my weird accuracy here could just be me. So it could be more accurate in your gun. But what I'm seeing here, though, is for its terminal ballistics, and that's really what the main test is here, they seem to do relatively well. So we had a little bit of over penetration with both of these through our real world simulation of, going a little bit too deep, but it wasn't enough for me to call this and be like, well, that's just not good, because clear ballistics is a little less dense than organic gel, and I just don't think that those would pass through an average attacker or anything like that. So I would say our penetration numbers are pretty good, and our expansion is pretty good. Now, this is not the best ammo out there, but for the price of these, I don't remember what it was I paid, but it wasn't very much. It was a lot less than normal. I think typically when you buy gold dot HST and stuff like that of this variety, this quantity, it's generally somewhere around $35-$40. I think this was more in the $20-$25 range if I recall right. So for what it is, for what it costs, it's not bad performing. It did pretty well. So interesting test. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.